Greetings, peace, everybody. This is Kim, and you are back with another segment. I'm back with another segment of Community Radio. Today is Thursday. I had to think about it for a minute. I think my days are running together. But yeah, we're back, and before I get started, let me go ahead and throw the number out there. The number to call in is 347-945-7680. And again, just press the number 1 to be heard, and I make sure I bring you in. It's an open conversation. There's no specific topic, but I always, just try to start out with something just to get the ball rolling. So again, if you'd like to make a comment, you can just press the number 1. I'll bring you in. And I see somebody already has their hand up. So let me go to this call, 813.
Greetings. How y'all doing?
Greetings.
Hey. So I was a little excited about this. So I was like, as soon as it turns 1 o'clock, I'm gonna hit the number. I'm press 1, and I'm here.
Okay.
I'm a little bit excited behind this. I woke up in the spirit of abundance, and you picked the topic that just matched it so perfectly. And that's one thing. But before we start, and I just wanted to say this. For everyone that has been paying attention to the show, and for the new people that have been paying attention to the show, especially the last show, and amongst the shows that have led up to that last show, we really need to take an important look at those conversations that we took, because this is one of the major things that I think that's going to help us heal, that's going to help us move forward, progress, and we're talking about unity between the male, the female, the son, the daughter, the family, the community. Right. So I just want for anybody that missed those shows, for the new people that are listening, I give you a shot. Go back and listen to those shows, listen to the conversations, listen to all the input, listen to all the solutions, listen to everything that we spoke of, because it was wonderful. And it's funny because, and I'll just add this last little bit, is that every time I read, like last time I read, when I got my book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power from Chief, I went on a little, spiritual, I always do this actually, but when I read the book, I went through a couple days of happenings and coincidences. You know what I'm saying? So, ever since I got the 14 keys, and I don't read a book all the way through. I can't. I'm a manual reader, meaning all right, step 1, read this, apply it. Okay, cool. I understand it. Step 2, I read it, apply it. And so I've been reading the book in that same fashion, chapter by chapter, piece by piece. And going into this little voyage I'm going through, I'm enjoying every last minute of it. That a lot of the vibrations have been just connecting with me, and everything's been flowing. Going back to what Chief says, life is the magic ritual. So, but I like I said, I just tell everybody that's listening, go back and listen to those shows. We spoke on a lot of good things within those shows. A lot of examples were made. A lot of things were said that can help us unify.
Thank you for that,
Anwar. We're about to get into what I like to talk about. Money.
Money. I thought about you too. I was like, I know Anwar's going to be on this call. So just to go back on some of the things you said, I wanted to bring up something that you sent me on Facebook. Was a video just speaking about the last shows, just real quick before we get into the other topic. But there was a video that Anwar sent me about Birth of a Nation, and it was a video of this guy, and I think it was Delaware. Was it Delaware or Pennsylvania? Somewhere on the East Coast.
Maryland.
Maryland. Okay.
I think it was Maryland.
He went to go see Birth of a Nation, and they told him that the movie was sold out. And so they encouraged him to buy a ticket to another movie. And so he did, but then he kind of, when he was about to go to the other movie, he snuck in the other theater, and he peeked in and he saw that it was like only 3 people in there. And so he was wondering, like, why did they tell him that the movie was sold out and encourage him to go, buy a ticket to a different movie? And so it was just interesting because somebody left a comment on the video saying, well, why aren't the men supporting it? Which was completely deflecting and off the topic. But they were saying, well, why aren't the men supporting it? It's the men's movie or whatever it was. And this could be one of the reasons why, because he was saying how, I saw some other videos that said, was saying that the movie's not going to make any money and all this other kind of stuff. But even in his interview, he was saying that the goal was not to make money. He wasn't expecting it to be like a box office hit or anything. It was just really on him, on his spirit, as we say, to make this movie. So he wasn't necessarily looking for this huge payout for making this movie. But the guy, he went to a couple of managers asking, why did you all tell me this movie was sold out? And it's not sold out. And then they tried to backtrack and say, oh, well, we showed it at a, what did they say? They showed it at a different time or something.
Yeah, they said they told him that they just added the movie and they sold tickets because they were playing Medea at that particular theater, that room, and they changed it over to there. The manager was just giving a whole bunch of excuses, and I feel them. I want to add something to that too. Is that this is the reason why we need our community. This is the reason why we need unity. This is why we need to all stand by some real norms and principles that are being stated. Because, like Chief said, everybody has a job within that community. And one of the jobs that are inside of that community is defense and offense. We need to have people in place so those little situations wouldn't affect us, or we wouldn't have to worry about the numbers of coming from a community that doesn't represent us. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that we pay attention to that unification.
Yeah, I thought that video was so interesting that you sent because as I was reading the comments under the video, a lot of other people said that it happened to them too. So there are a lot of theaters that are saying that the movie's not showing, they're not selling tickets to the movie. And like I said, it just kind of goes to show, when movies like this come out, I never expect Hollywood or someone else to kind of validate the movie and promote it. Never expect that anyway. But this was just an interesting twist to me. I didn't know that it was going this far to where they were saying that they don't have the movie and that they're not selling tickets to the movie. So that was interesting. So if you're listening on the call and maybe you went to go try to see the movie and this may have happened to you, let us know. I would like to know. I was actually shocked that it was playing in my location where I am, because usually when movies like that come out, they don't show them here, and I'm in the South. So sometimes those movies completely skip over us. They don't show, like if it's a racially, if it has anything to do with race, or if they think that people might get excited, like they don't show the movie here. So when I went, like I said, I was the only one in the theater. I was shocked that it was even playing. So, but if that's happened to you, let us know. It would be interesting to see if this is something that's going on all over the place. And I think the guy said that he was actually working. He may have been lying about this just to hype it up a little bit more. I'm not sure. But he said that he was actually working for Nate Parker, the film, some part of the film where they were, going around trying to check and see if people were actually playing the movie. So I thought that was interesting. But like Anwar said, if we have our own community, then guess what? We could actually, have a viewing of the movie ourselves, and we won't have to worry about big movie houses or whatever showing the film or not. We can show them ourselves in charge.
And not only that, revenues being misinterpreted. Because you got to remember, all those ticket sales are going to accounting now or some
right.
other and we also got to look at this too, is that maybe that didn't even occur. Maybe some people just sold them different movie tickets. They said, I want the ticket of birth to the nation, and the clerk gives them accountant back.
Yeah.
So I think we just got to pay attention to that, and I don't think we have to. I think we should put ourselves in a place where we don't have to rely on that type of community to make our wealth.
Right. So that was just interesting. I did want to bring that up. I'm glad you came on early and I remembered that. But today I kind of wanted to talk about, I was watching this show. I don't know if you guys know about this show Atlanta that comes on FX with Childish Gambino. I didn't even know that was Childish Gambino. I'm not all hip to rap or hip hop these days, but as I was about to watch it, my daughter was the one. Actually, I saw he was on some show yesterday doing an interview about it, and then I was like, oh, I was just talking about this show with somebody, and now he's on doing this interview, and my daughter says, oh, that's Childish Gambino. I'm like, what? So apparently that's who this is. But I was watching the show last night, and on this particular episode, he was like broke. He was really trying to get some money, and so he went to his friend to try to make some moves so he could get some money real quick or whatever. And his friend took him all over the city doing favors, making swaps, all this other kind of stuff to get some money. So he's thinking he's going to get this money at the end of all of this. And his friend's like, man, you're going to get paid in September or whenever it was later on in the year. And he was like, what? I needed some money now. And so he made this statement. He said, poor people don't have time for investments because poor people are busy trying not to be poor. And so I thought about that because he was like, I needed this money right now, man. I'm not trying. Because he was like, man, you're going to make $2,000 because his friend was like breeding dogs or something. And he told the guy that he gave the dog to, he has this deal where he was like, you're going to get $2,000 for each dog that he breeds. You'll get half of that for each dog that he sells. He's like, man, I don't need that right now. I need that in September. I need it right now. So when he made that statement, it just kind of hit me because I said so many of us have that mentality that, poor people don't make investments. Like most of us that are considered poor or lower middle class or middle class, we don't invest in the stock market. We don't, or just in anything in general. We don't invest in art. We don't invest in certain things that appreciate over time. We want right now money. And we do things for right now. And so because of that, we kind of developed this almost, microwave kind of mentality where if we if I put a quarter in, I want to get something out right now. And this kind of affects us just in life, period. We feel like if I do something right now, I want it back right now. If I, even when Chief was talking about you get what you give, sometimes we may make a donation to a charity or, give the dude on the street $5. We're expecting to see that right back. Like, okay, universe, I did something good. Give me something good back. We just expect things back like right quick. Even when it comes to spirituality and rituals, it's like we'll go through all these steps and then we'll sit there and say, okay, nothing happened. I didn't feel anything. Nothing happened. I want something to happen. How long is it going to take? Is it going to take a day? Is it going to take a week? And so it just made me think about how we, just transfer that type of mentality onto everything in life, from relationships. We don't invest in relationships. We just, everything. We just have this, just this get rich quick kind of mentality. So I did a little research, and I found there was this book that was written. It's actually the book is kind of old, but it highlighted some of the things, some of the ways rich people think. And it's a huge difference between the way rich people think and the way poor people think. And I thought this would be good to bring up because, like I said, so many times we do this in other areas of our life. And so I'm going to go over some of them. And if you want to chime in, again, if you want to chime in and make a comment, or if you see, oh, I do that too, or if this kind of relates to you, feel free to chime in. I'm going to go through some of them and then we can talk about it. So one of the ways rich people think that we don't think is, the first one was average people, or just, poor people, think money is the root of all evil. Rich people believe poverty is the root of all evil. So it's like, we've kind of been brainwashed to believe, and that kind of goes back to the Bible. A rich man, what does it say about a rich man not being able to go through the eye of a needle or something like that? But it's like we feel it, and then we have songs about it. The OJ sang about it, about money being the root of all evil. So, and then in church, you just, we've been just kind of brainwashed to think that money is just not good, or people, or rich people are, dishonest and evil and they're bad, and, we don't want to be that. So we've kind of been tricked into that thought. Another one was average people think selfishness is a vice. Rich people think selfishness is a virtue. So they were saying that, rich people go out and try to make themselves happy. They don't pretend to save the world. They don't, kind of like us. And this goes back to the conversation that we were having about reaching back. Poor people see selfishness as like this negative trait. And so, again, it's this whole reaching back thing, and I got to save everybody. I can't just focus on myself, and my family. I got to try to save the whole race of people, whole race of black people, or whoever you're trying to save. So we do that. We've been having a conversation about that, the past few shows. Another one was average people have a lottery mentality. Rich people have an action mentality. So they were saying, while the masses are waiting to pick the right numbers, or they're praying for prosperity, which is something that we do, great people or rich people are out solving problems. So it's like they were saying the middle class or lower class of people are waiting for God, the government, their boss, their mate, or somebody just from somewhere, out of the clouds, whatever, to give them money. They're not really focused on going out and doing something to make it, and that's why we have, especially in the South, we have all of these laws. Like most of the states in the South, every year have it's on the ballot to whether or not they should add a casino. We should have casinos or not. So it's like a big thing in Arkansas, Mississippi, all these places down here. And you'll find that the places that they put these casinos are in the poorest places. The poorest places, like, is the most rural place, in Mississippi or in the South, is where you'll find a lot of these casinos. And they're packed all the time because people just want to hit the number. Let me just hit a lick right quick, so that's another one. Another reason they gave is that average people think the road to riches is paved with formal education, while rich people believe in acquiring specific knowledge. And we all know that's true. Like, that's the goal that we have for our children. Graduate, get good grades, go to college so you can get a good job. That's been preached to us for so long, while we don't even realize that maybe the thing that we want to do doesn't even require a college education. Sometimes the things that you want to do, you can just, go to a community college and grab a couple classes real quick, or maybe, it requires you picking up a trade or a skill. Because you'll find that a lot of people, a lot of wealthy people, some of the richest people in the world did not go to college. And so they got their wealth through studying something very specific, a specific knowledge. They either found a person that is already doing what they want to do and they just kind of shadow them, or try to create some relationship where they can, gain knowledge from that person and learn under them, or, something like that. They're not going to college, spending years and years and years in college and wasting money in college to get out and get a job. So that's another thing. And, we got to think about that, because like now going to college is not as, advertised as much as it was, I guess, for like my generation. Like you got kids now, 10, 11 years old, that create apps that are millionaires, already. So college is not necessarily the way to wealth. Another one was average people long for the good old days. Rich people dream of the future. And this is so true. We always look back. And that kind of reminded me of just dealing with African spirituality, which is, what we talk about so much. A lot of us are always looking back to the good old days. Well, the Egyptians, back in Kemet, back in the day we used to do this, or back in the day we used to do that, as if that's a way to our salvation, or to become, wealthy, or to change our position in life, not really realizing that those days are over and that there was a decline. It failed. That dynasty or that kingdom crumbled. And we don't look at that. We just kind of look at it like, if we could just go back to those days, we'd be better. While, rich people are always looking towards the future. I was speaking with someone, I think this was on the Monday call, we talked about it. We were saying, why do we have children? Really? What's the real reason why women have children? And we just talked about it, like we really have no plan for our children before we make them. And I was saying how, you have some Asian families that have like 200 year or more plans for their family. They plan for the next generation. They plan for the generation after that. They plan for the generation after that. So they have these, family plans that span years to make sure that they stay in control or stay in power. They make arrangements for their children, marriage arrangements. They know what family they're going to pair with. They know, all of these things. All this stuff is planned, and that's not something that we do. Another one that they gave was, it says that average people see money through the eyes of emotion. Rich people think about money logically. And so it went on to say an ordinarily smart, well-educated, and otherwise successful person can be instantly transformed into a fear-based, scarcity-driven thinker whose greatest financial aspiration is just to retire comfortably. And how many of us see, I have family members that tell me that all the time, or a lot of them are in the military. And their sole reason for joining the military was so that they could have good retirement benefits or something. Or when I get out of the military, I'll have this, So we're always thinking about that pension or Social Security or something like that that's gonna save us or protect us. And we all know that we see that we could possibly be facing a situation where, like, my daughter, maybe even me, won't have Social Security or anything. And we've seen companies go belly up. So that pension is gone. We live in the age of Enron and all that kind of stuff, where we saw people's, savings and everything just disappear. So that's another one. Another one that was stated was the average people earn money doing things that they don't love. Rich people follow their passion. And so, of course, we all know about that one. And I think that's something that we have been working on a little bit more in the recent years. We've kind of figured that out a little bit, because we're all so unhappy, and we see the damages, the damage it does to be in a job that you hate for so long. So I think we've actually we're starting to chip away at that one. Another one, average people set low expectations, so they're never disappointed. Rich people are up for the challenge. Now, they say that psychologists and other mental health experts often advise people to set low expectations for their life so that they're not disappointed. And so, it says no one would ever strike it rich and live their dreams without huge expectations. So some of us do this, like we kind of lowball ourselves a little bit. We shoot for, like she says, the low fruit on the tree. We don't reach for the top fruit on the tree. We want to pick from what's within our reach. And that's just because, again, we don't want to be disappointed. We don't want to fail. We don't want to make a mistake. All of those reasons. So, we can't even imagine, can you even imagine waking up tomorrow having, I don't know, $10 million in your account? What will we do? What is that like? What would you do in the dawning? What would you do different than you do now? Even when we do these rituals asking for things, we ask for them, but we really can't picture ourselves in that position, not really. So that's another one. And there are a few. I'm going to keep going, but like I said, if you would like to chime in, or if you have a comment or you'd like to say anything, make sure you call 347-945-7680 and I will bring you in. Okay, so not going for it, that or so that you won't be disappointed. That was the last one. Another one, it says that average people believe you have to do something to get rich. Rich people believe that you have to be something to get rich. And this is so true. We're taught that you got to work hard. You got to work hard to get rich. You don't put in the work, you can't have it. You got to work hard. Rich people don't work hard. They work smart. So, that's another one. That's some more programming that we have, that if we don't work hard to get it, we're not going to get it. Another one was average people believe you need money to make money. Rich people use other people's money. That was a good one, I thought, because you've heard that one so many times. You got to have money to get money. You got to spend money to get money. Rich people use other people's money. And it says that rich people aren't afraid to fund their future from other people's pockets. Rich people know not being solvent enough to personally afford something is not relevant. The question is it worth buying, investing in, or pursuing? So that's another one. Next we have average people believe the markets are driven by logic and strategy. Rich people know that they're driven by emotion and greed. So investing successfully in the stock market isn't just about some fancy math formula. It says the rich know that primary emotions that drive financial markets are fear and greed, and they factor this into all trades and trends that they observe. And that is so true. I had a friend that I went to high school with who is into the stock markets and everything. And he went back and started teaching started teaching kids in public school about the stock market that wouldn't ordinarily get this information and how to invest and, what to look for. And that was one of the things that he stated. He was like, if you ever, want to invest in the market, he always said, always invest in luxury brands. He said because people always, again, people always want luxury, even if they can't afford it. So he would, talk about investing in things like Louis Vuitton, some of these fashion houses, investing in art, things like that. But that's so true. It's like, even when I was in sales, I would notice, just little things like certain music that we play at a certain time when people come in to shop that will put them in the mood to spend more money. So everything that we buy, and you as women know this for sure, like when we're upset or sad, we want to go buy something, or you want to go shopping, or you want to go out, or you just want to splurge on something to try to fill that emotional hole. So of course, everybody in the market sees that. Why? And that's the same reason why a new iPhone comes out every single year, and they just get more and more expensive. Like I think now it's like $700 for an iPhone, So, and then not even 12 months later, another one comes out, and they know that people are going to run out and get that one too, even though they just spent $700 on a phone just a year ago for another phone that does the exact same thing. It may just be a different color, but they're going to go out and spend it just because they want to be, it's a status symbol, and, it makes us feel better to have the latest and the greatest. So another strategy is if you're investing in the market, investing in stock markets or something, think about emotion and greed, things that people buy. Another one was average people live beyond their means. Rich people live below theirs. And that's a big one. We feel like, of course we have to get, as soon as we get the money, we want a car, we want the nicest house. But, if you go to some of these really wealthy neighborhoods, you'll see an old car in the driveway. It may be like an old little 90-something, 92 Toyota or something in the yard. They're not so concerned with name brand clothes, the best cars. Of course, they may have like maybe one really nice car, but it's not the focus. I've been, going through, low income neighborhoods or something. You'll see BMWs, Porsches, all this kind of stuff, and these people are living in the projects. So that's another one. I'm going to bring in another caller real quick. I think this is Chief. Greetings.
Peace. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I didn't catch all of it. We're talking about poor people. Right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. How rich people think versus how we're just talking about how rich people think and how poor people think.
Okay. So yeah. Poor culture versus, well, what about wealthy people?
Right. That's what we're talking about. How wealthy people think and how poor people think. The differences between them. Because, again, I was watching this episode of Atlanta, and the main character on the show was broke.
Ern.
Yeah, Ern was broke, and he went to his friend to say, he's telling him, man, I need some money. So his friend was like, okay, I'm gonna hook, I got you, whatever. So they went through all these different capers throughout the day. Went to this person,
with the sword when he went to sell his phone, and then he was like, "Yo, let's get the sword." Then he went. I think he got a dog or something like that. He was like,
he got a sword. He went and bought a sword. Then he went to the dude to give the sword to this guy. The guy gave him a dog. Then he got the dog and he went to trade it for something else. And his friend was like, "Man, you gonna get paid in September, October." And he was like, what?
Like, I need
some money right now. Mm-hmm. And so he made a comment and he said, poor people don't have time for investments because poor people are busy trying not to be poor.
Right.
And so I just thought about that and I was like, wow, it's a very true statement. On the other hand, it's true. And because of that, we have that same mentality, not just with money, but with everything in our life. Like, if we feel like we can't get it back today, it's not worth investing in. Like, we don't want to invest in things. I need something right now. Like, if I give you this $50, I need this back tomorrow. Or I'm not going to invest in art. I'm not going to invest in some of these things. Like, I'm not going to see that money. You know, I need some money right now. So, and then I was just saying how it kind of also translates over even into our spirituality. You know, when we do rituals or something, it's like we go get all this stuff, we do the ritual, and we're like, okay, how long is this supposed to take? Is it I didn't feel anything. Something's supposed to happen right now. Am I supposed to wait overnight? You know, how long is this going to take? I need this right now. So I was just saying how just having that mentality kind of stunts us in other areas, not just in money. And it really kind of comes down to the way we think about things. So I was talking about a book that I read, and it listed all of these different things about how poor people think and how rich people think. And why rich people end up being rich is because of this. It's a whole different mentality. So I was just going through the list of some of the ways that some of those examples of the train of thought.
Oh, okay.
And so,
the culture, the different culture. Yeah, like you know, one of the things too, like sometimes when you're looking at the world through a poor person's perspective, and a person can be rich and be poor. You know, so like there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Right.
You know, so like you know what I'm saying? Like you could have money but still have a poor person's mentality. You know, so the poor person mentality is like, you know, to me, there's a basic statement often that is made, and we always say like time is money, and like that's one of the demarcating points between the poor mind, the rich mind, and the wealthy mind. Like the wealthy mind really, really takes that literal. Time is money. So what they do is they garner wealth so that they can buy time. It's almost like that movie Time. I think, was that title of it with Justin Timberlake?
It was Time, not Out of Time.
Or Time Out or something like that, right?
Something like
but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like a wealthy person, like the poor person mentality, and even oftentimes the rich person mentality, is that I have to spend a certain amount of energy units or time in order to have money. And then once I have that money, I can purchase the things that I want to have in life. The wealthy mentality says I have to have money to buy time, so that way I don't have to work. You know, so it's like most people, they'll put 8 hours into their job so they can get their check at the end of the strong or every 2 strong. I don't know. I haven't had a job in a long time, but I think it's every 2 strongs, every strong, something like that. So they put their 8 hours in and their 40 hours are strong, and they get that check. Whereas the wealthy mind says, okay, I want 8 hours a day to myself. What do I have to do to get that 8 hours? Who do I have to pay around here to make sure that I get my 8 hours a day? So a lot of times the wealthy mind invests more in outsourcing opportunities. You know, like you could have a rich person and they may still like they may still cut their own grass, or they may still do all of their stock trading themselves instead of just hiring a broker. You know, instead of just paying someone for their expertise, and it's the time that they're wasting. You know, whereas a wealthy person will say, no, I'm going to pay the broker to handle this for me. I'm going to pay the yard person. I'm going to pay the mechanic. And that gives me an extra 2, 3, 4 hours in my day. You know, so I've met, especially through the type of work that I do, I've met so many rich, poor people. You know, they're living poor culture, but I mean, there's money. They're high earners. You know, they earn a lot, but they don't actually have any intergenerational wealth assets, you know, because of the mindset. So each generation of children have to start over from the beginning, you know. And I mean, you see it even in their mate selection, the type of vehicles they drive. And usually, like with the poor people, poor culture people, they look the wealthiest. they look the most rich.
We look good.
You know, they look good, but you know, in terms of wealth and assets, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing there. Yeah, but there is a staunch difference in terms of the mentality. And you're right, it does transcend to the spirituality. A lot of people still have that. They don't form relationships with the guiding energies of their life. You know, they don't form bonds. That's really where the wealth is, where the spiritual wealth is. Like, get to know those energies you're tapping into. Instead, they just go to them when they need something. But if they understood that if you form a relationship with these different guardians, these different spirits, these different archetypes, it actually buys you time. Because then later, you don't have to do certain things. You don't have to do certain rituals and whatnot, because it's already handled for you. You don't have to be doing protection rituals every Sunday and having to do saltwater baths every night and stuff like that, because it's handled for you because of the economy. The economy is the relationships that you create between those who you would barter products and services with, you know, whether it be your spiritual community or your physical community.
Or even kind of like this guy in ATL, because, you know, as he was doing all this, I was just thinking to myself, wow, like, he has relationships with all these different kind of people. And that's something, you know, that we've talked about, we've talked about, that a lot of us, I'm saying black people or melanated people, some of us don't do. Like, we don't just strike up conversations with people that we don't know. Like, if we're, like you said, if we're at a park or sitting on a bench, somebody comes to sit down beside us, like, we don't talk to them. We don't. And I was just thinking about that when I was watching the show, because this guy, you know, this hood dude, you know, he's in the hood, but he knew all these different people in different circles. Like, how did you even know about this guy? You know, because even the guy that he traded the dog with, it wasn't like another dude from the hood. This was like some old white dude way out in the sticks somewhere, you know, that he traded the dog with. And it just made me think, how did he even know him? And it just kind of goes back to...
Remember the guy who he was arguing with, like, yo, I need the money with tonight. It was through his link, which that was a link through his cousin.
Oh, okay.
You know, Paperboy. Remember, that's his man. That's his. So and remember, after he did it, like, he was like, yo, I need the money today. Da 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 da. You know, my girl Vanessa's on me, and he gave him his phone. He was like, here, take my phone and sell it. He was like, nah, I can't take your phone. He was like, yo, it's all right, man. I buy a new one every couple months. Yeah. So, but he said to him, he said, you know, we're friends now, right? Like, after he gave him the phone, he said, you know, we're friends, right? You know, and he just kind of stared at him, you know. But it's funny you mentioned that, because that actually happened to me yesterday. I was in the supermarket, and I was walking through. I was just running through real quick to get something to drink, and I had my headphones on. So, you know, because like when I'm in supermarkets and stuff, I got a thing about listening to the audio that they pump through. I'm a little paranoid about it. So I always make sure I have some type of headphones in my ears so I don't hear whatever they're trying to program me to buy. Next thing you know, I'm walking out of there with a bad
I was just talking about that. I was just talking about that.
So I have my headphones on, and I'm hearing like, hello, like, you know, at the corner of my ear. So I turn around, and this is this elderly woman, and she was waving, and I took off one headpiece. I was like, me? She was like, yes, you. Like, and I was like, okay. So I walked over, and she was like, she wanted to get some agave syrup. She was like, and she's trying to point up. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go, and you know, she said, wait a minute, which one is it? Is it the raw one? Is it I'm like, here we go. Now it's a whole thing. So I took both headphones off. I was like, basically, I'm here now with you. So I get her the agave, and she was like, you know, this stuff is really good. I use it in my oatmeal. And I was like, yeah, you know, I use it too. And she said, I use, you know, she wants to strike up a conversation. She was like, I use it in my fish. I bake fish with it, and I put a little bit of it in it. I was like, oh, I never thought about that. You know, I'm giving her, because you know what older people, and this was an old European woman. But with older people, you got to give them their time.
A lot of times,
yeah. They're lonesome, you know. So, and what was funny was that someone was holding my place online. I just ran back to get some coconut water, and you know, she messed up my whole. But I was like, all right, you know. She was like, oh, that's interesting. You bake your fish. I never thought about doing that with agave. Okay, And then she was like, and I tell you another secret. She was like, I take a pinch of sugar, and I said, let me guess, you put it in your pasta. She was like, yeah. I said, yeah, I used to have a landlord who was Italian. He taught me that trick. So she said something about the oatmeal. She's like, and when you cook the oatmeal, I said, well, when I eat oats, I don't cook them, I eat them raw. And she lit up, and she was like, oh, she said, I met one other fella who did that. And she leans into me. And I'm like, okay. She was like, he was a black guy. And I'm like, okay. Like, how good are your eyes? You know? She was like, he was a black guy. I met him on 57th Street and 8th Avenue. And he used to sit outside eating raw oatmeal with apricots. You know? So she's kind of getting into this whole thing, right? So I'm like, all right. You know? And I was like, yeah, it's deep. So she was like, what, you got coconut water there? She said, I started drinking that because she's like, I have cancer. And she was like, I lost 10 inches off, because she was like all huddled over, you know? And she was like, I lost 10 inches from my height because of the scoliosis. She had this big
wow.
So I'm like, wow, okay. She was like, you know, and I can't digest anything and this and that. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, man, well, you know, you're still mobile. You know, I said, listen, she said she's 83. I said, you're 83 years old and you're still out here. You're still moving. That's a blessing, just to be able to push the cart around and have conversations with people like me. And she was like, yeah, you know, but I'm going to fall out anytime. So look, how much was that coconut water? And she's going through it, right? So I'm like, okay, basically I'm going to have to spend the afternoon with this woman. And my phone is going off. People are calling me. And I'm like, you know, but you got to give older people their time. So long story short, she talked my ear off for probably about a good 40 minutes.
Wow.
And we went from the New York Times. She used to work she worked with a fashion designer. And she was like, because look at my clothes. She was like, I'm a pretty cool old woman. And she did have on nice clothes. She was like, these clothes you see me wearing, they're like 20 years old. And she's like, I used to work in the fabric district, and the leftover scraps of like the really good expensive fabric, I would take and make my own clothes out of. So she was like, you know, and I mean, she was running the whole thing. So I'm listening because, as you know, I only shop in wealthy food stores. Right. You know my thing with that. I don't shop. Yeah. I don't buy food where black people eat. Right. You know, and so I'm not making them synonymous. I don't buy food where black people eat, and I don't buy food where poor people eat. Right. So, you know, because I know that you know, I'm paranoid. It's this conspiracy. So I'm in a rich neighborhood already, and you know that particular market, you probably know what I'm talking about. I run into a lot of celebrities and stuff there. So I'm listening to her because she doesn't know I'm picking up her game and her jewels. And she was like, yeah, I put my children through college, and, you know, but I live on Skid Row. I live like a pauper. I went 3 months recently with no bathroom sink. So I'm kind of sizing her stuff up. But she was like, you know, I always get quality. And she was like, when I was a young girl, she was born in 1934, I think she said. She said, when I was a young girl, all I had was books. And then we finally got a radio. And I said, oh, did your family sit around the radio and listen? Like, was that family time? And she said, no, we didn't have money. My parents had to work. So she said, you know, it was mainly me and my siblings. And really, I got into the Russian classics. And she's just going through it. So, you know, I'm picking up little gems here and there. And, you know, so we would trade. She was like, so what do you do? And I said, oh, I'm an author. You know, I'm not going to say I'm a voodoo priest. But I was like, you know, I'm an author. And she said, oh, wow. So she started bringing up titles. And, of course, I knew the titles. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I read that. And she was like, oh, wow, amazing. You know, of course, amazing that a big black
man reads. Yeah.
Right. Anything other than Donald Goines. So, so long story short, she was like, "Oh, I know I've tied you up so long." I said, "No, it's okay. It's okay." Because at that point, pretty much my afternoon was blown anyway. But I was like, "No, it's okay." And I said, "But thank you." I said, "Thank you for the conversation." And she looked at me shocked. She was like, "Huh?" I was like, "Yeah, I learned a lot." So I was like, "Thank you for sharing, some of your life history with me," because we were there for a while. So of course she did. But the thing is, sometimes you pick up little gems here and there. Like she said something to me. She said, "I was married twice." And she said, the second time I was married, I went to a restaurant with my husband, or soon to be husband, and I looked him square and she said, "I was trying to be really tough." And I said, "I'm not going through a divorce again. And if there's going to be a breakup, only one person is going to leave this relationship alive, and that's me." And she was like, "I was trying to be all tough and everything like that." And she was like, "I realized that I was trying to force something that wasn't natural because marriage is such a ridiculous notion." And she was saying that the only reason we were able to hold it together for as long as we did, she said, because I was into the fabric and I think he owned a textile or something, but they used to travel from Germany to France and back to the U.S. Like they were all over the country. I mean, all over the world. So she said the fact that we were building a business together is what really held the marriage together until he died.
Wow.
Little Jim.
Yeah.
You see? So I'm just, long story, but I'm just saying in terms of what you're speaking about, we usually don't speak to people, but part of it too is putting yourself in the right environment so you will run across people who have like some game to give you.
Right, right.
I'm in the aisle where there's coconut water, she's buying agave. So, I mean, clearly her body is breaking down, but this is someone who's health conscious. You're going to have a different conversation in that section than you will in the potato chip section.
Right, right.
And not to be snobbish, but it's just like when you get in those environments, keep an eye out because you might run into someone or meet someone who might have some game to share with you.
Yeah. You know what? Even as you say that, one of the points that I was going to make, because I had a whole list of these thoughts. One of them was it said that average people never make the connection between money and health. Rich people know that money can save your life. And so they were saying that, while the middle class and the lower class are arguing over, Obamacare and their company's health plan, they said that wealthy people kind of enroll in like boutique medical care or associations. And they said that they pay a yearly or monthly membership fee that gives them 24-hour access to a private physician who only serves a small group of people. And so that just made me think, community. I was like, that just makes me think that is so true. Like when they're sick or they just pick up the phone and the doctor comes right on over, or they'll move into a neighborhood where they know a physician lives. Like you said, just strategy, trying to place themselves in a circle of people or in a neighborhood so that they'll have access to certain things. So that's an excellent point. But even the point of just, valuing some of the people, just taking the time out to have a conversation with someone that you don't know. These people are like gatekeepers. You never know what they can connect you to.
Right.
Even when I was, when I did the 21-day cigar challenge, as soon as I started doing that and posting things on Instagram, like this whole culture of cigar lovers just kind of opened up to me. They started messaging me, and I talked to somebody that started their own cigar line, cigar company, and just realized that this is like a window into a whole different world of people and a whole different class of people. Because for the most part, you know that a lot of wealthy people smoke cigars or have a passion for cigars. So just going to a cigar bar or cigar lounge or whatever and having a conversation about cigars or, something like that, or taking a wine class or an art class, something like that, can just introduce you to different classes of people. And they'll, a cigar takes about 2 hours, an hour and a half, hour to 2 hours to smoke sometimes. And so you have all of that time where you have that person's ear and you all can, talk about different things. So, yeah, I don't think that we invest in things like that.
I do.
There's someone else.
Are you talking this French?
Well, not we, but some people. I'm going to bring in another caller real fast. 443. 443.
Greetings, Sister
Greetings.
Kim. Yeah, how y'all doing?
Welcome, child. One. The granddaughter.
Oh my goodness. Y'all are giving me so much life today with this topic, and Chief with his Italian white lady accent. Talk amongst yourselves.
He's a nice boy, Archie.
Black guy. I ran into this black guy at the supermarket.
And then the whole time he was talking, I could just picture them in the market, in the aisle, just having a whole conversation. It's awesome. It's life. It's so much life right now. I'm really enjoying this topic today, as I do all the other ones. This one hits home for me too, because like I said in the last show, we're on this dream board now. And the majority of that dream board with my husband and I had a lot to do with finances. And we're kind of just retraining ourselves to, like you said, Sister Kim, a couple shows back, to respect money, to just spend frivolously and, just without thought is disrespectful. And it really is. So we're trying to... well, not even trying, we have scaled back on some things just to get these goals accomplished. And that whole talking to strangers and things like that, that is very, very helpful, especially when you're trying to get something off the ground, or even if you just need advice on something, on a particular field that you're in. And I didn't understand that for years, because my husband is that type of guy. We're out and he's just everybody. To everybody.
Yeah, I find that women have a problem with that. We don't talk. We don't open up and talk. But guys, they go in to get some batteries, and it'll take them 2 hours to come out of there. They talking to everybody.
Yes. I'm like, what is this man doing here? Next thing you know, he done brought the man over to the car. Tasha, this is Joe from up the street. And, he say he fixed cars, and he do all. And I'm like, how you doing, Joe? All right now. But that has gotten him into a lot of different arenas of work, and really just friends, that he has for life, really. And I'm now starting to get into that, especially being in the beauty industry. And it has been pretty lucrative, I will say. I've been booked like for, I'd say, about 2 months straight, like totally booked. You know what I mean? And people, all types of referrals. I had a lady call me yesterday. Oh, you did my niece's hair, and my hair's a mess, and I'm trying to go down. I don't know what to do. And just talking and letting people know that you're invested, that you care. You know what I mean? And it is about the money, but it's also in that connection investment.
Right.
I need to know that you're going to come back to me. I need to know that you feel like I'm invested in your well-being, whatever that is. If I'm doing your hair, if I'm painting your house, or whatever service you're providing, I need to know that we're eye to eye. We're here on that. And as far as the like the episode of Atlanta, and I really like that show too. And I think
that's a good show. It's a good show.
And that was the funniest episode, I think. And I love the cousin. He is hilarious because he's so calm about everything. But yet he has his hands in everything. You know what I mean? And it's just like, he never gets upset. He doesn't yell or anything, but somehow he's just there all the time in the background. But that whole poor people are busy being poor, that's a hard mentality to get out of. And
especially when you're surrounded by other poor people.
Exactly. And we're getting out of that mentality now. And one of our vices was, you know, we both work at this job that we totally hate. So every time payday rolls around, we will be like, whew,
who made it through this week? Yeah.
Right. Let's go celebrate.
Let's go.
You know
right.
Yeah. And so now we going out to dinner. And matter of fact, I have a confession. We just did that Monday night when we went to the movie. We went to the Caribbean spot, maybe about 20 minutes from our house. Beautiful place. Which, by the way, was totally empty because, again, black folks don't want to support black folks. But their food was bomb. Like, it was so good. And I'm like, why isn't this place packed? What is going on? But anyway, we went in there and dropped all kinds of money, bought takeout stuff to bring home and all this stuff, went to the movies, balled out on that, you know. And it's like, we got to stop that.
Yeah.
We got to really, just because we had a hard week doesn't give us the green light to just go and ball till we fall. We have to conserve and we have to stay focused on the bigger picture, i.e. the goal board. And also investing in things when there's maybe not a lot of money. And you will get the money back. You're not going to get it tomorrow, but it will come back. And that's happened to me so many times with my crochet business. I'm not going to go and buy the yarn now because I only have X amount of dollars. I don't want to spend half of that on yarn. But the times that I've taken the chance and just gotten the supplies that I need to make the product that I need, then I get an email. Oh, I need 10 hats and 5 pairs of socks and gloves, and next thing you know, I done made about $200-300, and I only spent $30 on the supplies.
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta invest in yourself.
You know, it reminds me again of what she was saying about having a mission statement. And if we're focused on the mission and what our end goal is, like, it'll kind of deter you from just blowing money like that all the time. I remember I was watching, I think it was Roots, and I remember someone gave somebody some money or something, and they took the money and they were like, well, what am I going to spend this on? Like, I'm a slave, you know, like, what am I going to do with this money? It's almost like it doesn't mean that much because I can't really spend it on anything. But, and that's kind of like the situation we're in, like with jobs and things. You're still on the plantation, you know, and you get this money. Okay, what are you going to do with it? You're not saving it to get off the plantation. You're still just spending it, like you said, to replenish yourself so you can feel better, so I can make it through the next couple of weeks. And then I'm going to burn out again. Yeah, it's just an endless cycle. I'm going to get burned out again. Well, let me get through these 2 weeks and then we can plan a vacation. Well, let me get through these next 2 weeks and then we can go out to dinner again. You know, so it's just trying to put a Band-Aid on the situation, and you have no end goal in sight, or like one of the reasons that I was speaking of earlier was that we rely on retirement. Well, when I retire, you know, I'll have this amount of money each month coming in. You know, so it's just like a Band-Aid. You know, we don't think about it. So, another mindset. But just like I said, those people that you meet, those strangers that you meet and strike up conversations with, that's networking. You know what I mean? So you don't always have to belong to the country club or to this or to that to run into certain people. If you put yourself in a position, like Chief was saying, just even grocery shopping. I don't go grocery shopping in certain neighborhoods. Putting yourself in just in a different place or positioning yourself a certain way can help you connect to those people that can open doors for you. And even just when we talk about spirituality and the Orishas and things, like we go to the Orisha to help open doors or to reconstruct our reality so that different things can flow to us. Well, sometimes that energy comes in the form of a person. But if you never leave your house, if you never leave the circle of poor people that you talk to every day, you'll never see the results of your spiritual work, or you'll never see anything because you're still in the same place.
Exactly. And I think that ties into a self-esteem thing too. Because I think a lot of folks think, like Chief said, he doesn't, grocery shop where poor people are. We don't either. We did for a long time. But for years now, we venture out and we go because you get, of course, better food and a better variety.
Right. Yeah.
Especially if you're on a whole food type of food regimen and you're not eating a lot of botched or processed stuff. But if you have low self-esteem, then you don't even feel worthy of walking into those type places,
right,
or even speaking to those people who are there.
Right.
You know what I mean? You feel like, well, let me go on down to the food line and, get this 10 for $5.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I belong here too.
Yeah. Go ahead, Amar.
Chief, even when you're late, you're on time, man. I'm telling you, good story, man. You had me cracking up.
Yeah, he stepped away for a second. But go ahead.
But even when he's late, he's on time. But the thing that he mentioned about time is what I wanted to get into. I want to kind of share my experience with that I do right now. The work that I did takes up about 12 hours out my day, just on average.
Wow.
I'm up like 8 o'clock and I get home around 8, 9 o'clock. Now, I'm working for my business. But once again, I'm in the process of doing. I'm not in the process of knowing or hiring somebody to do it. So my biggest concern with this job, the work that I do, is that it's not benefiting me. It's not benefiting me spiritually. It's not making me happy. So I took myself and I said, I'm giving myself a deadline to when I stop doing this. And there is a certain aspect that the income that I got going on as this stop is going to stop. But I have already started manipulating and moving the pieces into the place where I'll continue to be making money, but I'll be making money doing things that I vibrate with more. I pick a couple things that I know that I would love to do. So I'm slowly yet surely just placing the pieces together. So by the end of the year, which is my cutoff at 31st, kind of closing out with the tax lights and everything, and go and to move forward into that next venture. Do I have fear about the money loss? Yeah, but one thing I will tell you that I've used to get past not only the health issues. I'm talking about stomach hurts constantly, and it comes from stress. Comes from worrying, you know what I'm saying? So, like, one thing I've done to not only fight that is, yes, number one, eat better. Number two, do something that's going to help you move from one point of your goal or your intent, your mission statement, to the next. And one thing Chief always refers to is that small steps are steps. You know what I'm saying? And those small steps just help those bigger steps come in later on down the road. So I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for that. That's another point. That was a good point that you and Tasha brought up about the food on Anchi. Is that's something that we definitely don't do. Like, we don't spend money on good quality food that will probably prevent us from having to go to the doctor so much. That'll keep us from having to worry about, so much health care and everything. But that's a huge, huge point. Like we just kind of sometimes settle on, the cheapest meal or whatever, just so we can put that money to something else frivolous, But that's a really good point.
I still want to know what happened to the guy that was holding Chief's place in line at the grocery store.
At the grocery store. He probably lost his spot. Yeah. I'm going to bring in, I think this is Sister Michelle. I'm going to bring her in real quick. Peace, Michelle. How are you?
Peace, Sister Kim. Peace, family.
Peace.
How you guys doing?
We're good. How are you?
Greetings.
Oh, my God. Greetings. I mean, you guys are, like, punching me in the gut. Like, these problems are the problems that not only everybody in this country is facing, but especially us as a team, I feel like, interacting with everybody and listening to everybody, and being part of the class, like, you can see that we still are dealing with, like American, like instant gratification. By the way, I haven't updated you guys on the sugar and not on smoking greens because obviously I couldn't take it after like a week of the sugar. First of all, we had a birthday party in the house, so I had cake everywhere, and there was vegan cake too. And I was serving the cake like, oh, I'm so strong, I can cut the cake and not want to have a piece, And by the end of that night, I'm like, I broke down, and it's the instant gratification. The way it like, it's all about chakra, animal stuff, and I mean, you guys are hitting the nail on the head, and me and Richie, like, we've been struggling too, ever since New York, we're struggling here too, but like, now we make a little bit more money, but still, so now we eat the better food, we shop at whole paycheck, right? We try organic. We, get the better stuff of everything. The Pampers for the baby, the detergent. It's expensive.
Yeah.
We can't save, Yeah. And it's a lot of that. It's a lot of like, I'm buying things that I know I shouldn't be getting, but it's like, oh, it'll make me really happy.
Yeah.
I won't buy anything next week. I'll just feel so much better about having the problems. But you know what? Thank you for that. Thank you for that, because we do have to face it. I can't keep hiding. Like, I tell Richie all the time, like, oh, I'm so sorry. I know I shouldn't have bought that. And Richie is so nice. Like, he's like, I don't mind. It's okay. Just let me know. And it's not fair for him. It is disrespectful. It is. I shouldn't be doing these kind of things. But I'm not going to say, like, we both do it, But I don't get on his case either. Because I have a problem, too. So it's like we're both, right? So it's so hard. But I wanted to call in and give thanks to Brother Damon. Yesterday, I got on a consult call with him. And that phone call was so much, that gave me so much life, gave us so much life. Like, we have so much more clarity on the road to our business.
Good.
And, it cleared up so many questions that I had. So, knowledge is power. And when you're ignorant of things, they have control over you. When you don't know what your enemy's working with, that's how they control you. And I'm so grateful for the community of Anu, because it's through you guys, because him and Sister Felicia did the Mastermind Monday show. And I've been going through that. I've been going through that show right as we speak. Like, I'm taking notes and I'm really paying, giving it my full attention. And I wanted to, tell everybody that he has services that he provides, and you have questions, he'll give you clarity. He'll talk to you. And let's support our family. He has the same mentality that we all have. He's in the Anu family. He knows what we're talking. We don't have to, like, explain things or anything. So, and actually, he knows a lot.
Yeah, those shows were good.
About the business. Yes, those shows are great.
Mastermind Monday shows were good. And if those of you that are listening, that was one of the shows that was on enlightenment and transformation. And those shows are available in the archives on the YouTube channel that we have, Enlightenment and Transformation. So, yeah, go back and check those out. They gave out a lot of really good information. A lot. Those shows could have easily been, they could have charged for some of those shows. And they're all free.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they both have a lot of business knowledge, and let's support let's support each other. We're all we're this community. I feel like this conversation is about this. It's about we have to build our wealth as a community. So that means that we all kind of gotta get our act together.
Right. Again, that's the whole purpose for A New Life Global, and for people coming together, and not just coming together, but we ask, what can you bring? What do you offer? Like, what can you contribute to the movement? Because we're trying to make those connections. Somebody over here may be good with money. Somebody over here might offer a different service. Somebody over here. And in doing that, we can send, business each other's way. We can say, oh, go to this person, they're really good with this, or go to that person, they're really good with that. Like, we don't always have to just go to Chief. Like, there are other people within the Anu community that has information, that are getting training from Chief. So, we're covered. You know what I mean? That's the whole purpose of of A New Life Global in trying to build this community.
Hey, Sister Michelle.
Hey, peace, brother.
You know what's my kryptonite? Chocolate on chocolate cake.
Ooh.
Chocolate on chocolate cake. Boy, you cannot leave that around me. It's a done deal. It will be nothing but a little bit of cream that's on the plate.
I feel you on that one, Edward. That chocolate cake, that's one of my vices. So, I love chocolate
Don't
cake.
Don't even get me started on the dessert. Chocolate cake, carrot cake. I love
carrot cake. That's my first one. That's
that's it. I'm with you.
Carrot cake.
Okay, guys. Again, this is not helping though. This is not helping. I'm trying. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start saying my favorite flavors. I don't need that right now.
You know what?
No.
It's so interesting. Like I said, these Monday calls are good because we both share two things, and that's blankets and carrot cake.
And carrot cake.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we know if we all get together and have a slumber party or something, bring the carrot cake, bring
and the
blanket.
Yeah. Carrot cake and blankets, and we'll bring some chocolate cake for Sister Michelle.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but all these points, like I said, it just got me to thinking because, we're not all completely over some of these things. We're trying to make strides, but sometimes we have to really, like Chief said, seek out the information to kind of help you along. So as I'm going through this list, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that is so true. Even the point that I was saying about Obamacare, that's like a hot button issue, because we know like with the next election, everybody's saying they're going to cut Obamacare and people are, having a fit about it. But just, when he said, rich people, they pay money into an association or a doctor or whatever, so that when they get sick, they're not going to the doctor waiting in lines trying to make sure the health card goes through and all this other kind of stuff. The doctor just drops everything and comes right over to them. And I just thought, wow, that's so interesting because, how often do you really even need to go to a doctor out of a year? And you're paying, these health insurance premiums, and then you still have to pay when you get there, and then you still have to pay for tests, and then you still have to pay for the prescription, when you could just pay, this one little fee and boom, the doctor shows up and probably has the medication right there for you. You don't even have to go through the pains of trying to go to a pharmacy and, all that other kind of stuff. So it's really like, like we said, you don't work hard, you work smart.
Right.
And so that goes from, that includes so much, from putting yourself, joining the right clubs, or just moving to the right neighborhoods, going to the right grocery stores, just certain things like that, things that are really simple and easy to do. Hanging out when just for recreation, going to the right places to play basketball or something in the afternoon or whatever. Going to the right gym. You never know who you run into in the gym. So I don't think, some of those things I don't think we think about. We just try to find, the cheapest way out every time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Your southern accent just came out like there was no tomorrow.
Let me tell you, I can't hide it. I'm surprised you haven't picked up on it before.
I'm just saying. I say oil. She says oil.
You say what?
I say oil.
Oh, okay.
Oil. She says oil. Oil. With a Y.
Yeah. Yeah, that southern accent is hard to come out of that. Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't picked up on it before, but yeah, so these are like some really, really good points. I'm going to get through some of the rest of the points too. Just to make another quick announcement, I see we have some more people on the line. If you want to jump in the conversation, just press 1. If you're listening via Skype or another source, the number is 347-945-7680. All right, so let's get into some more of these reasons. Another one was, average people teach their children how to survive. Rich people teach their kids to get rich. So rich parents tell their kids, at an early age about the world of haves and have-nots. So, the author of this book even says that, many people have argued that he's supporting this idea of elitism, which is what we talked about last time. But he said he agrees with that. Like, you have to teach your kids to see society as it really is. And I think that for the most part, like poor people or, middle class and down, people kind of teach our kids that everybody's okay. You're not better than the next person. We're all the same. We have those little stupid little cliches like that. Like, you're not better. And that's the first thing we say. You're not better than me. Only God can judge me. All this kind of stuff. But rich people don't teach their kids that. They teach them about the realities of the world, and they teach them, they instill in them that, look, you come from this. We're better than that. You know what I mean? So I think that's something that we have to kind of adopt too, because that contributes to that poverty mindset. Another one was, average people let money stress them out. Rich people find peace of mind in wealth. And that kind of speaks to what Sister Tasha was saying about, when we get that paycheck on that second week, it's like, whew, you kind of breathe a sigh of relief. Like on Monopoly, we just pass go, collect that $200 and we spend it to try to get through the next 2 weeks. And it's just an endless cycle. It also says average people would rather be entertained than educated. Rich people would rather be educated than entertained. And again, so true. It also says that the middle class reads novels, tabloids, and entertainment magazines, whereas they're reading things to help them surpass the stage that they're in, or to gain wealth through education. And I just to give you a quick example on that, I was attending. We used to have these movie nights here, these conscious movie nights here, and this particular one, there was a professor at a university here who stood up and he offered at the end of the movie. He was like, if anybody here would like to learn more about computers, and web design and all this other kind of stuff, because this was his business. He was like, I will be here, every Saturday from a certain time to a certain time. He's like, I'm not going to charge you anything. It's completely free. He was providing the computers and everything. And do you know, not one person showed up? He didn't get anybody, because, I guess, as poor people, like we see the weekend, that's our time to kick it. We're not trying to do anything that's not fun. We want to be entertained. We want to have fun. But the people, he said that the people that, when he went back to his school, because he does this, at the university there too, like after hours, he was like, every time, he was like, the only people that were attending were young white kids. We're talking 9, 10, 11 years old. Their parents were bringing them to that. Completely free, no charge. But we weren't there. So there's another point. Another one was, average people think rich people are snobs. Rich people just want to surround themselves with like-minded people. And that's a huge one. That kind of goes to what Sister Tasha was saying about, we don't even think we're worthy enough to talk to these people. We think they're snobbish, or like, I'm not good enough to talk to this person, or they won't talk to me. And we surround ourselves with people that don't really have our interests in mind. They talk to like-minded people. I've said it before, like, rich people don't hang out with poor people. They hang out with other rich people. And I don't think it's a form of elitism. It's just they want to, even in their pastime, even in their, spare time, they're still networking, still meeting people that can help them, can help propel them into, to continue their wealth. They're reaching out to find those people who think like them. And so sometimes we have these long friendships with people, and all we do when we get together is, we drink, overeat, watch TV, play video games, or, little silly stuff like that. So, another point. Another one was, average people focus on saving. Rich people focus on earning. And again, that's another huge one. We get money and we just put it in the bank. Well, we've kind of seen what that does. Like I said, with the whole Enron thing. Like, we don't think about flipping our money, or even going back to the whole Nate Parker situation and what we were saying about women supporting their men. Like, we'll flip out if, the man takes our savings and puts it into something to possibly double our money or triple our money. We're just like, all we can see is that, okay, you took the money, now we're broke. Again, with the whole, thing about investing. And that brings me to the next one. It says, average people play it safe with money. Rich people know when to take risks. So again, with the investing. Another one was, average people love to be comfortable. Rich people find comfort in uncertainty. So he says that for the most part, it takes guts to take the risks necessary to make it as a millionaire, a challenge most middle-class thinkers aren't comfortable living with. Physical, psychological, and emotional comfort is the primary goal of the middle-class mindset. World-class thinkers learn early on that becoming a millionaire isn't easy. The need for comfort can be devastating. They learn to be comfortable while operating in a state of ongoing uncertainty. And that one kind of hits home with me. Sometimes we don't like the uncertainty of, I don't have X amount of dollars in the bank. Like, something might happen to me where I need that money. You know what I mean? So again, just like Tasha was saying again, just that comfort, and Sister Michelle, like having that extra piece of chocolate cake or whatever, like, I would feel so much better if I just have this cake right now. I'm not thinking about what may happen in the future, or, if I don't have it, I don't know what I'm going to do. Another one, average people. Go ahead, Amar. Y'all can interject whenever you feel like it.
Let me interject on something. One thing I see in common with all these statements is that it's focusing on abundant thinking. Especially since we call ourselves conscious, and we understand that the universe has everything that we have in it, everything that we need in it, and will be provided for it. Right? That's the going theme of our mind. When it comes down to currency and money and making money, it's the thing that stops us from doing these things that we're speaking of and list is fear. And that fear of not having is the biggest culprit inside of the poor man's mind state. It's abundant thinking. And I still have problems with that. Like I just said earlier, is that when I stop doing this work, am I still going to balance out? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So throwing that intention where I'm fearful that I might not balance out, it's already throwing a conduit, and that energy comes towards my way. So, we really got to program our minds to think abundantly and break these cycles that we have as in the poor man's mind. So.
Right. That's a big one, Anwar, what you were saying about fear. I know when I left my job, that was like a huge one. Like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? How am I going to make it, But in that, it kind of sparked me, okay, now I got to work harder, because my whole mindset, even as I was working the job, I was like, if I can work this hard for a corporation that doesn't have my interest in heart, I should be able to do this for myself. You know what I mean? I should be able to hustle harder for myself. So that kind of helped me, but I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm not, like Tasha said, I'm not going to be able to go out every 2 weeks. I'm not going to be able to, take a vacation, or I'm not going to be able to buy some of those things that I like, as often because I don't know if I'm going to be get that paycheck in another 2 weeks. That when you're at that job, you're on the clock, like, okay, in 2 weeks I'll get paid. You're already planning what you're going to spend the money on. Okay, if I can just hold out, in 2 weeks I'll be able to get it, So that's fear, man.
Yeah, one of the biggest fears come from also us having children, because we're thinking about we provide their soil so we can have they can have everything they need to flower, So that's one of the biggest things that we kind of we take that second guess the situation. So, but
even in that, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that is a huge factor on why that's what I'm about to face after January when I'm licensed, because I'm now trying to figure out how am I gonna phase out of corporate America into being my own boss. And meanwhile, I have other people in my ear like, well, you can't, quit your job and just have a home salon. You're going to have to work in someone else's salon. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I don't have to do that if I don't want to. I have the clientele already. You know what I mean? But it's that fear that, I'm at work right now. I've been at work the whole time talking to y'all. You know what I'm saying? I know at the end of the week, I'm going to get X amount of dollars regardless. You know what I mean? But once you're your own boss, your finances are probably going to go a little up and down for a while until you can get stable. And with having children, it's like, okay, well, I'm not getting that steady 2 week X amount of dollars, every time. How am I going to provide for these kids? The mindset that I'm starting to have now is, yes, some weeks are going to be shorter than others for a time, but the payoff that's greater than the actual money is the fact that your children are watching you be your own boss.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Once they see that, they're going to be like, oh, man. And then that goes into the not you're no better or lesser than anybody else, like what the book said. No, you are better. Why? Because you're your own boss. You make your own money on your own terms. That's what makes you better.
Right.
So that's a bigger payoff, more so than the actual money, because, I mean, nobody's going to starve. We're not going to starve. You know what I mean? If push comes to shove, you better get you one of them little hangy garden things and grow you some tomatoes and stuff on the porch.
Yeah.
Everybody's got food. You got a place to live. Even if I lost my house, I got so much family. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be in these streets homeless, and I'm not going to starve. So why not take that chance?
Right.
And just do the damn thing and do it for yourself. And then that way, next time y'all talk to me, I'll be like, oh, I can't talk, y'all. I got clients. I'm going to catch y'all on the archive.
Right. Yeah, and that's so important. We don't see that. We don't see that by starting your own business or working for yourself, that you're teaching your children something so much more valuable. Like, you don't have to be a slave. You don't have to go to the plantation just to eat. And that even brings in just the importance of community. Like you're saying, you have family. So if you have a community, they're not going to let you go hungry. They're not going to let you starve or not have a roof over your head. You have a family. You have community to help support you. And even in that, you may have some, you know, like I said, with everybody having their own talent and their own gift, you can barter. You may not even have to use money for certain things. Like you said, oh, I know a mechanic. Oh, I know a plumber. Oh, I know somebody that can do your hair. You know, so you can actually trade and barter, you know, different services as well. So I think, you know, again, those are lessons that, you know, if your child is watching you, seeing that they don't have to go through these things, like there's another way. So that's a very valuable lesson. That goes back to what I was saying about, you know, rich people teaching their children to be rich. You know, they teach them how to be rich instead of, you know, go to school, go into debt so you can get out and get a job. You know, no, you can be the one providing the job. You can be the one doing the hiring. Let somebody else do it for you.
One of the things that I would put in play when becoming your own boss is paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork behind that. So, you know, with the abundant things, we would hire somebody to do that. But even within that, you still have to do a good amount of paperwork just to kind of give it to that person to handle tax work or handle certain documents that might be generated for your business. So there's always that's one of my biggest battles, honestly. That's one of my biggest battles, and it's one of the things that's actually in my old dude. If my name, my unified name, that's brought forth. So it's one of the things that I have to always shed light on to make sure that I do and make sure that I stay on top of it. If not, I lose everything. So
wow.
So I will put that out there.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that you have, and everybody is not necessarily an entrepreneur. You know, so again, going back to the whole idea of community, it's not always about you being the boss. Maybe somebody else is better at it, but you can barter. You can barter your services. I'm like you, Anwar. Like, all that paperwork and stuff, like, I zone out. I'm just like, oh God, you know. And if I have to put my name, address, and phone number on another piece of paper, like just that part, like just the beginning of it, I'm just like, oh God, all this paper, you know. So I feel you on that. I'm not gonna lie, that just turns my stomach.
I do my own accounting. I do my own accounting. So like receipts and invoices and estimates. Oh God, I hate sitting in front of that. That's the reason why I do this job, and I enjoy doing this job because I'm outside and I'm driving. I'm amongst the world.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I hate sitting in front of a computer. I did that for 13 years of my life, and I even told myself now, even if I open up another facility with a recording studio, I'm not sitting in front of that computer recording anybody at this point. That's not going to happen unless I'm getting paid some major money to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that computer screen kills me. That computer screen kills me, man. That's my biggest thing.
Can I interject for a second?
Sure.
You know, like, that's my biggest thing too. And yesterday, in talking with Brother Damon, he said that a lot of those stuff is getting automated. Like, that's why it's so cool to have somebody who's in the know. You know, and you know, he explained to me that no, because I'm going through the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, I have to do taxes. I have to do it, and I have receipts. I have receipts all over the house, thinking that like I have to save these things, you know. And it's just like, oh my God, just thinking about doing these things is the same exact feeling. I get it. And then I was speaking to him, and he was telling me, no, these things are automated. You know, you can use such and such program. You can do this, and you know, it's like I feel like we make our own lives worse for us. You know, where we have things at our fingertips. Or, you know, pretty much we're creators, to be honest. And the technology is so available that if you just think about one thing, like a problem, you know, in a month, you'll see like, oh, look, that they sell this. Or somebody will come to your door saying, look, you know, like it just happens. It's just that, you know, a mentality. Like, I think we make our own stumbling blocks. You know, my thing is like...
Not taking initiative. Like... And that's a message to the universe. Like, I want to do this, but oh God, I don't feel like doing this right now. This is too much. So what is that saying? Like, you know, it kind of, you know, it reminds me of that blues song. What is it? Gotta pay the cost to be the boss. Like, there's certain things you just have to do. You know. But like Michelle said, technology is so awesome now. Like a lot of these forms and things you can get online. A lot of the stuff is, you know, it's automated. You have these legal websites that can draw up certain contracts for you, you know, so it's out there. You just got to put in the effort to look for it.
One of the greatest things I've ever received as a tool has been QuickBooks Online. That has an app. It connects onto my business checking. Everything I buy for my business, I buy through my credit card, and I don't have to do anything dealing with bookkeeping. Like how you know what I'm saying? You still have some stuff that you do after the year is done, but that was one of my biggest investments, and now that has helped me get past a lot of things. So.
Yeah, like I said, it's out there. You just got to take the initiative to get up and do it. And sometimes that's the hardest part, getting off the couch or just getting up and doing it. You know, that's the same thing, you know, I was talking to a friend just about working out. It's like you want to, but it's, you know, and once you get going, like you can maintain it, but it's like just initially just getting up, going to the gym or, you know, wherever you go, getting started. But again, that's a signal to the universe of, you know, how serious are you about this? Are you really willing to, you know, do what it takes to have it? And, you know, again, you know, that's something I thought about when I left my job. I was just like, okay, this means I'm going to have to work harder. I'm going to have to stop playing around about what I say I want to do, and I gotta do it. I can't just sit around and theorize about it or just talk about it anymore. Now I got to put some action in. So yeah, I tell you, it's hard, but it's not hard. You know, just do you really want it? You know, the last point that was on my list here says average people believe that they must choose between a great family and being rich. Rich people know that they can have it all. And that's what Anwar was just saying, you know, having a mindset where this abundance mindset where you know that things are there. You know it's possible. I know that. You know, I know I'm not going to starve. I know I'm not going to be homeless because I know that the resources are available. Like it's not a limited set of resources in the universe. I can create wealth. I can create this. So those are those.
So there's something I've been wanting to say, and I've said it a little bit one time, but this is the perfect time to say it. I don't want a piece of the pie. I want the whole pie. The pan that it was cooked in, the oven, the electricity that made the current. I want it all. I don't deserve nothing less. I want everything about that pie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, including the house that the oven is in. Yeah.
I want the planet that the pie's on. I want the solar, the solar system the pie's in,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think, like I said, that programming is so tough to break. And like I said, it starts at 5 years old, just entering into kindergarten. It's like a cycle. They've already got your life planned out. From 5 to 18, you're going to be doing this. From 18 to 21 or 24 or however long it takes you to get through college, you're going to be doing this. By the time they're this age, they're going into the workforce. By this age, they're going to be having children. And at 60, 65 years old, we can throw them away. But make sure that they have children or something so that they can, when they exit at 65 and when they're no longer useful, that they have somebody else that they can put in their place. We need another battle. It's just like in the Matrix where you saw, somebody's got some background noise back there. I think that's Michelle. Let me mute you for a second, Michelle. It's just like in the Matrix where you saw that they were pretty much just growing people so that when one person becomes, has no more use, we don't have anything left for you. We got somebody else waiting. And that's kind of what, the education system is. It's like, okay, once you're 65, you can't work anymore. You're no longer useful to us. But make sure your children are in the process. Make sure that somebody else is coming behind you to replace you. And we all see that even with a job. The moment you become useless, they're not going to miss you. They got somebody else right behind, just waiting right in line to take your spot. If you die, if you get sick, they're not going to send you a card. They're not going to anything. They're not going to miss you 1 minute. They already have the position filled. You know what I mean? So that's another, we got to think about that when we indoctrinate our kids into this whole matrix of, this cycle. It's just ongoing, We've got about 10 minutes left. So if you're on the line and you have a comment or question, make sure you press the number 1. The number is 347-945-7680. And I think, let's see, we got another caller. I'm going to bring them in. I think I know who this is. 817.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
I'm really enjoying this show right now, though. I just wanted to give, I'm really thankful for the women's call, and because I've been looking for a women's group for like a year, so the group couldn't come at a better time for me, so I just wanted to give thanks on that. And to comment on the poor mentality versus the wealthy mentality, that is definitely something I need to work on, because I also make crochet products like Tasha, and I make natural feminine products as well, and I go months without any sales. So it's like I have no idea what it takes to become an entrepreneur. So I come from a background with a bunch of, low life. My mother, she took pride in receiving welfare. She actually had the nerve to look down on people who worked hard for money. So it was real bad. Both of my parents, they received government since I've been born, and they still do to this day.
Wow.
Wow. The longest my mom worked was probably for like a couple of months, but she couldn't keep a job. So like now that I'm trying to, do my own thing, is like I don't have the tools whatsoever, and I know it's a certain mentality. So it's good that you're talking about the difference between, like the wealth mentality, because that would be very helpful, and change my mindset towards, on my own business and whatnot.
And your children. And your children. Because, most of us, like you said, pour from one generation to the next. Like she said, by the time our children come of age, they have to start from scratch, because there's nobody in the family that they can go to, or there's nobody in the family that left anything for them. I know. I was just thinking. I used to work for I was a drug chemist for a while, and just seeing how money circulates, just with laws and things around that whole world. Like, for the most part, when black people get arrested for drugs or whatever, money's confiscated, everything is confiscated. Certain people know how to hide their money. So that the next generation, they keep their drug money and pass it on to the next generation. So some people have a better start, whether it's, illegal or legal. But, we don't make certain provisions for our children. It's just, poverty generation after generation. We don't have, maybe our parents have a life insurance policy or something. And that's when, when somebody dies, the family gets together and everybody's fighting over everything. That's when the claws come out. You start to see our families go crazy. No, I want that. I want that. I get the car. I get the couch. I want the TV. It's like, gosh, we're like just scavengers, man. It's a sad sight to see when something, when a tragedy like that happens. You start to see that poor mentality come out in your family. Yeah.
But Sequoia, what kind of products did you say you made?
I made like crochet hats and like baby shoes and little diaper covers and hats, baby hats, and I also make like female like walk, pads. It's an alternative so women don't have to use those chemified products from the drugstore and stuff. So they're reusable, so you can wash them and reuse them and stuff. So.
Okay. Okay. You have a Etsy shop or something?
It's Koya 13 Design.
Koya 13 Design. Okay. I'm gonna check you out.
Okay.
Definitely.
Cool.
I want to jump in and say something real quick, and I'm calling out all the men. I'm kind of upset that the only two men that was on the phone was me and Chief, because I'm telling you, this is a talk about money, about supporting your family, providing for your family, and I think the men need to come in onto this call. So anybody that's hearing it, I'm telling you, if not today, tomorrow, you guys need to jump into this conversation. This is an important conversation to have.
That's important.
I mean, if for nothing else, to support the women.
Yeah, because I was just about to say, it's the men that are really out in the world that can help you plan this stuff. They have the answers of who to go to, all this other kind of stuff. Your husband or somebody, your car breaks down or something like that. The man always knows somebody. Oh, I know a guy. They always know somebody. They're out in that world, so they can kind of help you navigate. And Chief has always said, especially with women, like whatever your husband is doing, he will help you find a place underneath what he's doing to start your own business. So that, even if you fail, like his stuff is still going, because for the most part, they're going to make sure that their business is going strong. So it would be best to find, to kind of come under his umbrella so that he can make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as well, and both of the businesses are successful. But for the most part, like women, we can go out and try it, but we don't really know the world like men know the world. And we don't really have the strategies, we don't know all the strategies and the ins and the outs sometimes as to, how to get a business started. What do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to? All these things. So yeah, Anwar, that's a great point you brought up. You gotta, those men have to be involved. There's one other caller I'm going to bring in real quick. 864.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Yeah, this is Pedro. Just want to know, let brother Anwar know that he ain't alone. You know, I was just listening the whole time, enjoying it. You know, because everybody making solid points. So it's not really too much any more points people can make besides, you know, just more money tactics or whatever. But I know, like, far as me, I've been just trying to, like you say, incorporate more people that are wealthy. You know, in my area, it's very low black people as far as who have wealth, and you might not even ever see them. So
yeah,
it's hard to get in contact with those people or whatever. But you know, it ain't nothing but a bunch of rebel flags riding around here. So, but I just, you know, everything everybody's saying is like on point. Of course, Chief always on time, like bro say, you know.
Even when he's late,
you know, keep it up, man. We just need to keep it all going. Keep these tactics up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good thanks.
Yeah, give thanks. But that's a huge point. Huge point. I know I wouldn't know what to do. I don't know how many times I said I wanted to start something and couldn't get through it, or I started it and it fell flat just because I don't know certain marketing strategies, or I don't know, you know, again, who to talk to, who to try to connect with and network with, or what I should be doing. So, you know, the information's out there, but sometimes we don't, everybody, like I said, everybody's not an entrepreneur. Everybody doesn't have a head for business, but they may, you know, they may be the doers, you know, but they need help from somebody that has that vision and has that sight to do that. And for the most part, like I said, the men are the ones who are out in the world. You know, like Sister Tasha said, you know, as women, we don't really, when we go out, we don't really talk too much to people. We're not going to strike up a conversation. Men go in, like I said, they go in the grocery store. By the time they come out, they know 3 new people. You know, we just don't do that.
Let me ask you that. Y'all don't understand how much the men need the women in our work environments also.
Word.
Because we don't, we'll give you an intent. We'll tell you, let's say if we have a document business or some kind of sales business that we need somebody to solicit. It's easier for the woman to walk through the door and solicit work for our company than the men, believe it or not.
That's true. That's true.
And then on the same note is that you guys, when we sit there, when we put out an intent inside of our business and say we see this, and this, women are very resourceful on finding this, and this, and that. And you you guys actually make the business flourish.
Yeah.
We just set the pace.
So we're the doers.
You guys are definitely inside of the businesses and the intents that we push forward. So it's a balancing act. Once again, going back to that unity and community conversation that we've been having for the last couple weeks.
And just the family. Chief has said that, you know, a lot of people, like on the old Chief Speak shows, the men would call in and they're like, man, I can't get this business off the ground. And the first thing Chief would ask is like, do you have a woman? Or do you have a family? Because that is, you know, that's how you connect the dots. You got to have everybody in place. You got to know who your players are. You know what I mean? And that a lot of times that's the missing link. And even if you think about African culture, the women ran the marketplace. They're, like I said, they're the doers. Yep. We run the marketplace. So we're the doers, but you also got to have your strategist. You got to have that person who has direction and who has a vision. So again, we both need each other. And you got to complete the unit to make it happen.
Hey, I want to give this technique for all the men who want to decipher if a man is a real man or not. Just ask them, would they put on a dress for $1 million?
But
I
how do you come to that? what does that come in? What made you think of that?
Because me and my brothers have some conversations just about, you know, how entertainment is controlling the masses with what people are doing, whatever. And we brought up Tyler Perry, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying, I don't want my son watching that because I don't want my son thinking it's okay to put on a dress. I don't want my family name being known for being rich for putting on a dress. So I think that'll, really decipher out who really real men or not. Because there's a lot of men that'll put on that dress for that million.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I can't even respond to that because that's not even in my circumference of thinking. Belt, leather. I'm hard, man. I'm hard. I'll deal with that. I can't even think about that. I can't even reply to that one.
Yeah. Well, you can also take it to just trying to take a woman's place. When we talk about roles, when we say that the man has a vision, the women are the doers. You can speak about it in that sense too, like a man that's trying to do both, trying to have the vision and be the doer. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it just you have to have a woman. So again, the women run the marketplace. It's there. We have those examples. So you got to be able to complete that unit. And like Chief has always said, you gotta, if your man already has a business, find out what you can do to help him. Find out how your business can fit under the umbrella of his, because he's moving forward. Women, sometimes we have an idea today, we got an idea tomorrow. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to try this, and have no plan in place of how to do it. We just have these ideas. So sometimes you have to, that man can give you the strategy that you need to get it done. We come up with ideas all the time. So, yeah, you got to have that, have the whole package, have the whole unit working together. And again, it's good for your children to see that, So
I think, man, it's better because men can take their emotions out of business.
Mm-hmm.
As far as laying down the strategies, women get emotional. They want to cater to people. If this person don't have enough money, they want to let them go ahead and have it, stuff like that. Men we don't do nothing like that.
What do you mean?
Like my wife, she sells like shea butter products.
Mm-hmm.
And people might come and they might say, well, can I get this and I'll pay you later, and it might be a month.
Okay.
So yeah, like I don't never really just agree with fronting out product or whatever, because people get used to that, and to me it just like kills the drive of staying focused, just that thing. Man.
That's true. We do have like a soft heart. and people like Chief said, women are the suckers of the world. We are the suckers of the world. So yeah, we'll do that in a heartbeat. Oh, well, they ain't have it this week, but they're a good person. I know they'll get it back to me, and you never see that money. So yeah, that's true. That's true. To have someone there that can cover you and be like, nah, put their foot down, because that's another thing. When they know that you're working with somebody, and that is not just you, they'll back up a little bit. They won't run over you so much. They know that they got this man to answer to. It's the same thing like when family members come to you trying to borrow some money. Like, it's not just my money, ask my husband. Ask my husband. And then, when you say that, they like, never mind. Never mind. They got to think twice about it then, because they're not going to do that. They'll play on your emotions, to get that money. So, yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, Pedro.
No problem.
Yeah. All right, so we've come to the close of the show. Hopefully, those of you that are listening, next time you'll chime in with some of your thoughts. It doesn't have to just be us all the time. And again, it's an open conversation. I just usually have something in my mind to kind of talk about, so that, just to get the ball rolling. But we don't have to stick to a certain topic. So if you have something that you'd like to talk about, or old shows or anything, feel free to interject and come in and make your comments. maybe, and for those of you that are listening, maybe you'll go back and listen to this show again and kind of write down some of those points and see if you have that mindset, so we can figure out, you know, where our shortcomings are and what kind of thoughts we need to get rid of. You know, that helps. And I think I'm gonna give you the name of that book. I think that the name of that book was How Rich People Think. And I think the guy even has some YouTube videos where he's giving a lecture on those points as well. So you can kind of check that out. But I just thought this was a really good topic because we've been talking all month about manifestation and magic and how to make it happen. So these are some like real basic things that we got to kind of get out of the way before we can even start to do the ritual, or before we can even start to try to manifest something. You know, it's a lot of us are still dealing with a lot of root chakra stuff, just basic things before we can even try to ascend to all this other higher stuff. And that's the whole point of the I Knew spiritual training and all the shows that she does. Is like, okay, we got to get out of the red first. We got to just get to a 0 point, you know, get to zero, get in the black first before we can even start to try to do, you know, all this other higher level stuff. So we're working through that. If you would like to take the class or look at any of the classes that we offer, make sure you go to seduluhouse.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out all the archive shows. Chief just put a new book out, The 14 Keys. That'll definitely help. It's a heavy book, but it's like a reference book, so you can you don't have to try to read it straight through, along with all the other titles that we have. And sign up to be a part of the community, newlifeglobal.org. And Chief just told me that the men's group they're getting it together. I think, I'm not sure about the details of how they're going to operate it or how they're going to move or anything, but it is close to coming together. So I'll keep you updated on that. For the women, again, we have a Google Hangout every Monday. And if you'd like to be a part of that call, make sure you go to New Life Global, sign up, make sure you let us know that that's what you want to be a part of. Tell us what you can offer. Tell us what your talent is, and we'll direct you to the right place, you know. So we're trying to get it together. We're inviting people every strong to join us. So if you want to be a part of it, make sure you, again, sign up. It's there. The help is there. The shows are there. The classes are there. The books are there. So there's no excuse. You just got to, you know, get up and do it. All right? So until next
Kim. Hey, Kim, you know how it goes? Remember this? Money, money, money.
Right.
Money. In a rich man's world. Hey, I got something.
There you go. Anwar has given it to you. So we'll reconvene again next Tuesday. Everybody enjoy your strong in, and we'll be back next strong. Peace.